Welcome everyone to Decisions 9.5 Release Notes. Today we're going to be talking about new features, enhancements, bug fixes, and breaking changes. If you want a full list of all the bug fixes, which there is quite a few that we are not talking about in this video, be sure to look at the release notes on the documentation site itself, which is documentation.decisions.com. But let's go ahead and get started with this process. So when it comes to breaking changes, there are none in 9.5. However, we are deprecating some features in 9.5. First, we are removing expression rules. And when I say that, I'm saying you're not going to be able to make new expression rules starting in 9.5. Expression rules that are there will still work, so builds that have them will not break. All that functionality will still be there, but you cannot make new ones going forward. Instead, it's going to be strongly encouraged to use formulas, and there's a whole designer for that. And that formula designer is amazing, so please just use those when you would have used expression rules in the past. Next up, kind of a big one, we are removing flow execution extensions. Again, just like expression rules, ones that already exist are going to continue to function as normal, but you're not going to be able to create any new ones. So we strongly encourage you to use case entities instead as a part of this release case, and entities have gotten quite a few improvements. Case under triggers are now going to be able to accept inputs as well, so that's going to make up for some of that losing of flow execution extensions. And again, existing flow execution extensions are still going to work. Setup process folder is still going to work. You just can't create new ones, and we added some functionality to case entities to kind of bridge that gap. So let's hop on over to the new stuff. We've got quite a bit of new stuff, new features, and new enhancements to talk about. First up, we have a new check-in wizard UI. We've been working very hard on this. It looks great. So it displays everything that's going on, what you've added and modified. It shows your health score on the side. You can click in and out of the options to choose what you want to add to your check-in. There's also a large box for the commit message, so you can clearly explain what is going on. Next up, we have the advanced search feature. It is now available for everyone to use. Basically, you search for something and then hit the advanced search option, and it'll pull up a full report experience for you with all kinds of filters. You can filter by when something was created or modified or who modified it, and there's going to be lots and lots of options there for you. We've got two brand new steps for the Azure module, Run Document Analysis and Run Document Analysis as JSON. These are both based on the functionality in the Azure Document Intelligence AI service, allowing us to take advantage of some great features in Azure. We've also added 9 new steps to the Google Cloud module. Look for these under the Identity section. These are all related to group functionality, such as adding users to a group, looking up available groups, and determining who is in which group. And now for a big one. A cool one for your user experience. You can now connect steps in the Flow Designer to the corners of steps, not just the 4 points on each side. This is going to give you more flexibility in designing flows, as you can see in this image here. So let's move on to enhancements. We have quite a number of enhancements with Decisions 9.5. First up, there's a new setting on the forms within the Flow Designer under the Outcome section called Include Completed Form Image. When checked, it's going to save the form as a file reference. The file won't be stored anywhere until you take further action. For example, you could have another form immediately after it that includes a download button. This button could pull in the file reference, and once you do that, it'll save the completed form to your downloads folder. Any process involving file references will work with this. But keep in mind, this feature currently only supports PNG file format, so it won't work with PDFs and other formats at the moment. There have been updates to the mapping editors, specifically in the property grid. Previously, when setting your inputs and outputs, the input type was located in the top right corner. Now it has been moved to the side of the little pillbox, and you can click the drop-down to select options like flow data, constant, null, or others. This update is going to provide a nicer experience and looks, and it's going to be a better experience for you moving forward. We've also improved the usability of the text merge editor. You can see there's a small UI change. It just looks a little cleaner. We've also made changes to the advanced and normal data grids. A new option is now available to output the list of items that were removed from these data grids. Previously, the only output option was the current content of the grid. Now, if items are removed, you can enable this feature directly in the Form Designer. In the properties for the data grid or advanced data grid, look for the Output Removed Items option. This will allow you to capture and output the list of removed items. This functionality works for both normal and simple forms, ensuring flexibility wherever it's needed. Another helpful change is that chart data flows are now folder aware. In the Data Explorer, you can access the folder ID associated with the chart data flow. This enhancement makes it easier to manage and organize your charts effectively. We've introduced a new UI refresh for the data definition type picker. When selecting the type of data, such as string, decimal, etc., there's now a drop-down list. This updated design is clean and polished, and it's making it a little more user-friendly for you, a little easier to read. Along with the updates to the data definition type picker, the type picker for inputs to a flow has also been refreshed. This follows a similar setup, displaying a list of all available types. The list includes recent types specific to a project, those obtained through dependencies, and more. These changes aim to enhance usability and streamline your selection process when working with data in Decisions. A new feature introduces a thread job that automatically cleans up client statistic tables. To enable this, go to System Settings and edit the Client Statistics settings. There you'll find an option to activate the thread job, which you can delete these tables on a schedule of your choice. The default setting is set to run daily, but you can customize this to fit your needs. It's going to retain data for the last 7 days. This feature is a convenient way to maintain a clean and optimized system. Another neat little change is that the Decisions version that you are now on can be pulled in as Flow Data. If you're looking under Flow Data, you can look for platform version as you see in the screenshot, and it's got the version right there. We've made a small but impactful change to the multi-line text boxes. They can now trigger active form flows just like regular text box form controls. This update allows multi-line text boxes to support all available triggers, including on enter, on exit, clear value, value changed, and stop trying. This enhancement ensures consistency and expands functionality across all of the form controls that we've been working on in the Form Designer. Speaking of the Form Designer, there are more updates in Form Designer. The Properties menu has been rearranged to improve usability. Previously, settings were scattered, but now they are grouped by importance, and some categories have been consolidated. No settings have been removed, just reorganized for better accessibility. For example, form rules are now positioned closer to the top, making them easier to access since they are highly important. This change streamlines navigation and enhances the overall user experience. We've made updates to the Flow Structure Report, available within a project in V9. To access it, you can go to the Manage folder under Health and Project Auditing. The report now features rearranged columns and added icons next to flow names. These icons provide a quick visual representation, making it easier to understand the report at a glance. We've made a small modification to the OpenID integration. When editing an identity provider, you now have the option to pull the email address from the user info token field in addition to the previously available ID token and access token fields. This update gives you more flexibility in retrieving user information. We've made changes to the HTML display form control. You can now modify attributes of an iframe, including the ability to disable or enable copy pasting within it. While this update provides more control over iframe behavior, it mainly focuses on offering an enhanced customization for form controls involving embedded content. And that is what I have for you today. But again, we do have a lot more bug fixes and features on the documentation site. So again, that is documentation.decisions.com. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to training@decisions.com, support@decisions.com, and we can guide you in the right direction. Thank you very much.